I got this letter. It's anonymous, and because I know people don't like to read, I figured I'd record it because I want to make sure that it gets shared because it's that good. Let's put this snapshot in time into perspective. A football player puts a knee down to bring awareness to shootings of unarmed black men. The NFL blackballed him, and no one wants to hire him on any other team as a form of letting him know his freedom of speech is not desired and will show every other wannabe activist what happens when you get out of line. So in essence, this is a Jim Crow. This is a man who worked very hard to achieve a level of greatness in the sport of football, a level very few people achieve. Whether he knew he was going to lose his livelihood isn't the point. He didn't have to take a stand at all. He has money, so the odds that he would be at a mini mart at 2 a.m. and he'd get shot while black and unarmed are pretty slim. So reality check is, he did this for the unfortunate people that would fall into this category. So when I see or hear anyone say that there is not a sacrifice, I find it to be concerning. That is like saying Rosa Parks just sat in a seat or Martin Luther King Jr. just walked and talked. Now, I'm not comparing what he did to Rosa Parks or Martin Luther King, but people go about their entire lives knowing that there's a problem and wanting to do something about it. But either they want to minimize their own risk or don't know where to start because it's such an overwhelming, colossal problem. This is a man that took it upon himself to step out of his comfort zone and take a stand doing something. And yeah, the pun is not lost on me. But when an individual on their own accord decides they don't want to support him, then albeit to that one person. But when one person or a group of people try to hijack the popular opinion by turning everyone against someone because they don't agree with the stance, then truth be told, it's as simple as this. A small group of capitalist foes decides that one person making a stance against something that is not popular to corporate America and cannot be tolerated, so they have to be made an example of. So no other black man given an opportunity by a corporation can think that they can get out of line without losing everything. Jim Crow. So now another corporation decides to take a calculated risk on him. This doesn't mean the company necessarily believes in the cause. Maybe they see a money-making opportunity. But again, it's an opportunity to promote a noble cause on a platform. And now people want to boycott. This is an attempt to use capitalism to shut down the noble cause. Now, a lot of people hear the words Black Lives Matter and get a bad taste in their mouth. This is due to a successful anti-branding campaign by the opposition. Black Lives Matter doesn't mean that white lives don't. On the contrary, white lives never cease to matter. This has never been a way to make white lives any less valuable. There was never a question of the value of white lives. The issue is that it is questionable if Black Lives Matter as much. Maybe a better slogan would have been Black Lives Matter too, but that's neither here nor there. This is why Lives Matter slogan just wouldn't work. Case in point, when there's a drug problem, but it's only in a poor black community, there's a war on drugs. But when the problem is in a more affluent community, then it's an epidemic and you can't tackle it as a war on drugs. It's now a medical epidemic that needs treatment. Those of you that are old enough to remember the 80s war on drugs know what I'm talking about. Till this day, things are still vastly different for poor and rich, and even more so for poor black and rich white. It's almost like two different Americas. I think it's not a coincidence that things fall that way. If both sides only knew the realities of how similar the other side's desires really were. Both sides just want the best for their families, and despite the popular opinion is they don't want it on the backs of others. We just want equal and fair opportunity for all. Neither wants a handout, but one side is starting so far behind the other by no fault of their own, but being born different. Until the mindset is changed across the board, rich people have to believe that poor people, given the opportunity, can achieve the same and more than people that are already successful. However, the other side of the coin, poor people, have to understand that there are opportunities to advance and grab hold of the American dream, just like the people of privilege. Sadly, many cultures and classes have been given a narrative of themselves by media. It has been force-fed into them so much it has become their truth. This is by no means the majority, but the sides that America chooses to side with uses these instances to jam in the stereotype, regardless if they're good-hearted people. It's a vicious cycle. Now, government passes laws to deter bad behavior, and they can and they have in the past to rectify this problem. Some people are of the mindset that they went too far, and others not far enough. That is a totally different discussion and topic. All that is clear is that the problem still exists, and as of late seems to be getting worse. A good example of that is one person's ability to convince a whole group of people that Mexicans are all rapists and murderers because of a few bad apples. Side note, if you looked at the worst white criminals, then it wouldn't look so good for them either. But that is part of the problem. When I single out white America, I'm drawing an imaginary line and I'm inviting my readers to pick a side or fall into their place. Newsflash, there is no white America. We are all Americans, and even bigger newsflash, Puerto Ricans are Americans too and have been for a long time. The division that some of us hold true are sold to us by people that benefit from us not banding together for real change. Good people far outweigh bad people, and together we can really make this world a better place. White people, it doesn't have to be a decision of a better place for white people or black people. It can be a better place for all people without compromise. Black people, white people are not conspiring to keep you down. There are a few bad apples, but the majority have more in common with you than you realize. The same fears and the same wants. Now, let's bring it back to the NFL. One player took an enormous risk and put it all on the line for many people, most of which he will never meet. He used his position of influence as a platform to right a wrong, an injustice that he saw. At the detriment of his livelihood, he tried to make a difference. I saw a post on Facebook where an ex-Marine said that this player does not know sacrifice, but look at the comparison. No one is saying that what he did outweighs someone who put their life on the line for our individual rights and freedoms. By saying it in that way, you are making people consciously or subconsciously pick sides, and no one will go against the nobility of one who picks up a gun and fights for our freedom. But his taking a knee isn't about taking a stand against the armed forces. He is just one man trying to make a difference and making this world a better place than what we have today. He wants a world where his black children and your white children can work together to make this world a better place for all children. It's not about picking sides. It's about breaking down walls. No black America or white America. Just an America that we can all be proud of. Don't let Jim Crow capitalism sell their idea of what America should look like. A nation divided can't stand at all. I approve that message.